Very good morning, my dear participants. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for this 47th INVIT Industrial Empowerment Session. 47th week, we have been conducting this industry empowerment session on different topics of 360-degree empowerment to our employees in the industry. INVIT is being founded by alumnus of CEG, IIT, and RLI in a vision to invent, innovate, and inspire by technological incorporations in our process and to ensure that our employees have been take care by incorporating the technologies. INVITI is having three wings. First wing is R&D, research and development on various sectors. Second wing is audit and inspection. Third wing is our training wing, which takes care of the kind of corporate training in the domain of safety, quality, and also the disruptive technologies from artificial intelligence to machine learning. This I've been much happy to welcome you all once again for our 47th webinar on how to convert this risk into an opportunity. Whenever we have been talking about this risk, whenever we have been talking about this risk, many of our industries, in our industries, where we keep on working to ensure, okay, to ensure that how we can able to convert this risk, how we can able to convert this risk into opportunity to ensure that we have been obtaining a very good result by converting this risk into opportunity. So today we have been going to see that what is the practical aspects of converting this risk into an opportunity, how to do it in your industry. Risks are not actually risk at all. My dear friends, risks are not actual risk at all until we take risk with the risk. Yes or no? I hope you can able to understand this. Risks are not actually risk at all the risk is not going to be cause big damage to us until we take risk with that risk. So with this intent, with this insight, we go into our topic today, how to take opportunities, how to ensure opportunities, convert risk into opportunities. So first, before going into the practical aspects of it, first we have to understand what is risk means. The basic definitions of risk means. Risk, whenever we are going to ask about what is risk is nothing but it's like effect of uncertainty. What is uncertainty? Uncertainty is nothing but a deviation from the expected positive or negative. It may be if I've been expecting a result, I've been not getting that result. It is a deviation, yes or no? It's a kind of deviation. So deviation can able to happen even both the deviation. If it is towards the positive end, it's also a deviation. It's also a positive risk. So in industries, we many of us we may be taking care about the negative risk. What about the positive risk? What about the positive side risk? This time it lay down in the positive side. Maybe in the coming future, I may not tell this risk is going to give us the same positive benefit. So risk is a risk. It may be a positive risk, it may be a negative risk. Risk is always a risk. So understand this. Whatever you have been targeting, whatever you have been is a goal. The goal deviation from that goal is known as risk. As I told you, we have to always ensure that the risk can be in both the ways. It may be a positive risk, it may be also a kind of negative risk to ensure, okay, to ensure that yes, it's going in a right direction. Even your positive risk have been noted, have been recorded. So whenever as we have been a technical people, always we love seeing the things in a statistical manner. Yes or no? Always we like to see the things in a statistical manner. So what we are going to do, what I can able to do, nothing. Most simple is we are converting the risk into a quantifiable number, a quantifiable, a measurable number, risk quantifiable. How we are going to quantify the risk is nothing but we are going to put the likelihood of happening and the severity, probability into severity. Probability risk equal to how many times this risk can able to happen, probability of occurrence, and what is the severity out of it. So by definitions, whenever there is a kind of uncertainty can able to happen, that can be a risk. The risk quantifiable numbers, how the risk can be quantified, because once risk can able to be quantifiable, then only we can able to ensure, you can able to ensure that how, what are the risks can be taken, can be viewed, can be action taken. The risk associated with the hazard, which hazards has to be notified, which hazards the action taken has to be done for the, what are the kind of hazards we have to really take care. All these things where we can able to get, we can able to get only we can able to convert the risk into a measurable form. So converting risk into a measurable form is very, 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 very important one, my dear leaders. So next, we are going to see about once this risk is being identified, once this risk is being identified, once this risk is being transferred, what we are going to do next is how we are going to collect the data for it, how we are going to identify, how to get data for this risk. Because most of the time, we are going to tell that risk, yes, risk, most of the time this risk is purely data has been collected based on the experience, based on the experience of that particular person. It's not a process oriented. So here this slide I like to give you to collect the data, how you are going to collect the data for this risk, where are the data have been hidden to ensure that you are collecting all the possibility of risk which is being in their your process in ISO 45001. My dear friends, that's why I will tell you always, I will ensure you how much you are going to get benefited out of this 45001. That is going to be the biggest intake and that is going to be the biggest insight, which whenever you are going to go for this ISO 45001. So the first step, pick up the issues. In the class 4.1, they are going to ask you about issues, internal and external issues. Yes or no? Issues can be a positive one or maybe a negative one also. So what we are going to do, we are going to pick up the issues. Already in 4.1, you would have been listed what are the internal issues, what are the external issues, what is internal issues, what is external issues, what are the issues which comes under the control, which comes under your control, industry control, your industry control is known as internal issues, which is not coming under your control is known as external issues. So you would have been listed out what are the issues in 4.1, internal issues and external issues. Very good. Take that. Pick issues from 4.1. Next 4.2 subclass, already you would have been monitored, you would have been captured the expectation of your interested party, expectation towards your health, safety, and and also for environment if it is 14,001. So, what are the interested party associated with your process? What is their expectation? Expectation of your employees towards health and safety, the kind of your customers, what is the expectation of your customers, expectation of the vendors, expectation of the neighbors, expectations of the government officials. All this we have to ensure you would have been already, you would have been collected in 4.2 subclass 4.2. Then what you are going to do, my dear friends, already 4.1 we are going to pick up the issues, because how it can able to become a issue whenever we are not picking up the risk, we are not identifying the risk, and we are not taking action, then only it is the risk is being converted into issue. So we can able to collect all the issues in 4.1. Next to 4.2, then the third step is the expectation which you listed out, the expectation which have been not met, the expectation which have been not met, it has to be identified first. It has to be identified first, and it has to be put into the bucket. It has to put into the bucket of risk. Is it right? It has to put into the bucket of risk. Very, very important thing. Next, what you want to do? Next, in subclass 4.4, you would have been listed out what are the process has to be covered under ISO 45001. So in that process, if you are not getting some process, if you are not going to get the intended results, some process, if it is not giving you the intended results, take that as a input for risk. So for preparing a risk document for your industry, go to 4.1 subclass, 4.2, then ensure that what are the expectation are we not meeting up. Here you can also able to think upon in this way also. Okay, as of now, as of today, I am doing this, I am satisfying this thing. I may not, okay, I may not able to do the same thing in near future. So that thing, okay, that thing also has to be, it has to be recorded, and it has to be put in our risk sheet. So collecting the risk sheet is very, very, very important, my dear friends, because whenever you are going to have a adequate data, whenever you are going to have a kind of adequate data, then you can able to ensure that you have been converting, you have been ensuring that you can able to mitigate the effect of risk as low as possible. So this first step, this is the first thing, to collect data for risk identification is very, 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 very important. Next, we are going to see about what is the methodology risk. What are the methodologies which has been available to avoid the risk, to address the risk? Sorry, to address the risk. There are 5 methodologies have been available to address the risk. The first methodology is nothing but we can able to avoid that risk. Why we are not caring about this? We are going to avoid this risk. We are not going to take this risk. So the first option you are having for risk is nothing but you are going to avoid the risk. The next thing is you are going to take the risk in order to pursue an opportunity, in order to get one new opportunities. For example, some of the industries, they has to run in the COVID time also. Yes, there is a risk, but to get new opportunities, yes, they run they run the show. Same thing, we can also able to have, yes, I know it's a risk, but I'm doing this to ensure that I'm going to have this new opportunity. So this is going to be the calculated risk. Is going to be a kind of a calculated risk. Next, we are going to eliminate the risk. We are going to eliminate the risk. This is known as the third option you are going to have. Next is sharing the risk. Yes, I know it's a very big risk. What I'm going to do is simply I am going to share the risk with my, okay, what I'm going to do? I'm going to share my risk with my customers or with my external person or with my vendors. Okay, for example, if we all will be having a confined space in our industry, ETP, STP. If it is yes, uh, going inside and cleaning the confined space is very, very difficult. It's going to be a very hazardous task. It's going to be very risky for the person who's going inside and who's going to do this work, yes or no? Yes, if that is going to be the case, so what we are really doing, we are transferring the risk, we are sharing the risk with my vendors. We are going to allocate a person. They are coming and they are cleaning. They have been cleaning the ETP, STP on behalf of us. Yes or no? This is known as sharing the risk. Next, last option we have in front of us is what is known as retaining risk by informed decisions. Retaining the risk. Retaining the risk is nothing but the risk is there. Okay, risk is there. I'm not doing anything, but the risk is not going to give me more problem. For example, you are seeing that your corridor, the walls of your corridor is very small. The height of the walls is not adequate, but you understand this. No, okay, none of the employees have been going there and the doors have been closed. So it's hazard. Okay, it's one of the hazards. So it is one of the hazards. That hazard is going to give you some risk, but you are accepting that till next year. Okay, next 6 months, we are going to accept this risk after the budget has been approved. I'm going to reduce this risk. Till that, we are retaining the risk. So it's very important. You have to understand whenever you are going to understand, whenever you are going to have the risk, it's not only you have to immediately you have to eliminate the risk. It's no, my dear friends. You have to be more strong. Always you have to be more clear. Always you have to be more focused towards how you are going to handle your risk. That shows your maturity of how well you are going to convert this risk into opportunity. So first we saw about how to collect data for risk. Then what we did that how this risk methodologies, how we can able to handle the risk. Next, what we are going to do is you are can able to ask me, Satya, you telling me that there are five options have been available. There are five options have been available. In this five options, the previous options. In this five option, how I know how I can able to take the right option at the right time. I think is a very smart questions which you can able to ask me, yes or no. How I can able to choose a right thing, a right choice, which you are telling five choices you have been putting in front of me. In this, how I can able to select a right options. Yes, we are going to see that we are going to understand a risk treatment plan. A risk treatment plan. Once you have been understood this risk treatment plan, then you can able to understand how to choose this five option which is being placed in front of us. So what is the difference elements of this risk treatment plan? First is we are going to estimate the level of risk value. What is known as risk value? Estimate the risk value. What you are going to do? You are going to give value to risk. You are going to give statistical data, you are going to gauge your risk by impact into livelihood. How severity is going to be, likelihood is the probability. So we are going to give the risk value, then you are going to go for risk treatment. What we are going to do, you are going to identify and evaluate option for risk treatment based on the approvals. What we are going to do, once you are going to put this risk values, some of the risk is being called as residual risk. Residual risk is accepted risk. Okay, if I'm being going to put values, if this value is going to be 1 or 2, you are going to check with your management approval. In your management approval, if you already put, okay, if you are going to already, you would have been defined that this risk, the risk which has a value of 1 is going to be the residual risk, we are going to accept it. So we are going to ensure how the management approval, whether it is a residual risk or not, risk treatment. Next, what we are going to do, you are going to develop your impact or severity scale. Very, very, very important. Your impact scale and severity scale you are going to develop. How to develop it? The impact scale, it can able to be ensured, it can be based on 4.2, how much the impact can be if this risk is happened. Okay, if it has been happened, how much the impact will be towards your interested party, towards your interested party, you would have been listed out in 4.2. So if this has been happened, or if it is going to happen in future, how your interested parties will be affected. Very, very, very important, because if my risk is going to affect my interested party, based on that only my impact scale, I have to draw my impact scale. But many of us, we may be forgetting some of our interested parties. So don't do like that. Always ensure that your interested parties, you are taking care about your interested parties. Then what you are going to do, then you are going to ensure that the impacts based on different components, financial components, legal components, it may be of recovery cost, all these things has to be taken in account whenever you are drawing your impact scale. The impact scale can be of 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. Generally in India, we have been using the impact scale of 1 to 5. Once the impact scale is being drawn, next we are going for likelihood. Next we are going for likelihood. What is likelihood? Likelihood is nothing but what is the probability? What is the probability of happening? What is the likelihood of it? So in this likelihood, if it is going to be 5 into 5 scale, okay, earlier we have been calculated the severity based on the impact on our interested party, based on impacts of our financial matters, all this, and we have been listed out. Next one, the probability scale we are going to we are going to ensure, we are going to design the probability scale, likelihood scale for our industry. Likelihood scale will be 1 to 5. 1 is very low, 2 is likelihood of such event is low, 3 is medium, 4 is high, and 5 is very, very, very high. So your risk scale is going to be, if you are going to put a risk scale of 5 into 5 matrix, if your scale matrix, if your risk sheet is going to be 5 into 5, your risk sheet is going to be, is going to look similarly in this way only, 5 into 5 matrix. So for example, likelihood, if you are going to have a likelihood of 5, if you are going to have an impact of 5, 5 into 5 is 25. Immediately what you have to do, you will be having in your sheet, okay, in your sheet you will be having in such a way that they will be telling that immediately what you have to do, immediately you have to take action for this risk. For example, if my probability is 3, then if my impact is going to be 10, okay, it's going to be 5, then what you're going to do? 5 into 3 is going to be 15. Yes, it is severe, but it is not as critical. So we are going to follow the step for this severity. So based on this, okay, based on the numbers, based on our institution, this controlled, this serious, destructive, this severe and critical, these are the terminologies which has been given by our institute. Is not defined, okay, it is not defined. It is purely based on the things which you are going to give. For example, if most of your risk, yeah, most of your risk has been handled in a right way the previous years, so the industry, so our safety department, what they will do, they will understand, okay, they will always work on to eliminate, to mitigate the risk, the effect of the risk. So then what they will do immediately, what they will do is they will slowly try to reduce this number. For example, 1 to 2 controlled, they will reduce this 2, and they will tell us that only 1 is controlled. 2 is also is going to be the serious case. So it is like a cultural improvement. It is also to ensure that it is a continuous process. It's not a kind of process which can be happen immediately, or it can able to give you the result immediately. It is like the kind of a continuous process. So you have to ensure that how you gather the information, from that information how you have been ensured, how what are the options have been placed in for us, how to choose the options, then how to develop this RPN number, risk priority number. Very, very important. As I told you, risk acceptance criteria. It is this risk acceptance criteria. Number of this risk acceptance criteria is purely depend upon the organization. It depends from organization to organization. For example, if it is a low risk range, we would can able to put from 0 to 5. If it is a medium risk, 6 to 16. High risk range is 70 to 25. If it is in the high risk range, immediately you have to take action, and you have to ensure that you have been correcting the things in a right way. Medium risk range from 6 to 16. What you are going to do that after finishing all the high risk range, we are going to go for addressing, mitigating the medium risk range. Then we will be going for the low risk range. Whenever I'm going for this ISO 45001 audit, I will always tell that I will not see the efficiency of addressing the risk. I will always ensure that how effectively the risk has been handled by that particular department, because that is very important. Yes or no? It's not the numbers, it's based on how well, how effectively this risks has been handled. So it is very important to ensure that we have been doing that, and we have been converting the risk into opportunity. If you have been doing all these things, okay, if you have been doing all these things, if you have been doing all these things in a very regular way, what you are going to do, you are going to convert the risk into an opportunity. The opportunity can able to be, it can be of adoption of practice, it can be of launching of new product, it can be of opening of new market, it can be addressing the new learners, it can be building partnerships, it can be a new technology. Yes or no? So there are a lot of opportunities have been available. So it is in our end that our competitors, okay, our competitors may not have this kind of pre-preparation to convert your risk into opportunity. But by God grace, if you can able to have this much of preparation, this much of understanding, this much of evaluation, this much of a kind of analytical values to giving analytical values to your risk, then surely I can able to ensure that you are converting your risk into opportunity. How? Yes, if something has been done already, you are going to have a predefined, well-defined model. Immediately, you are going to take that same action, and you are going to be okay. You are going to be well versed, and you are going to enjoy that present moment. For example, COVID fourth wave. It is going to be one of the risk factor. If you are going to have a predefined plan for it, or change in a product, change in the product design. If you are going to have a predefined risk analysis sheet with you, you know what has to be done, when it has to be done, what are the activities to be followed after implementing this. If you are not going to have the enough information for the risk chart, it is going to be very, 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 very tough, my dear friends. So getting enough information for risk sheet is very important to convert this risk into opportunity. So I thank I thank one and all. If you are going to have any doubts, okay, if you are going to have any doubts, you can always, you can able to call to our InVT team. The main objective of all this risk into opportunity is we all will be going for this ISO 45001 auditing. It may be of surveil, it may be a surveillance audit, or it may be a certification audit, it may be a recertification audit. Kindly ensure, okay, kindly ensure that how we are adding values to our institution, our industry, whenever we are going to implement this international ISO standards, to ensure to create values to our customers. InVT audit and inspection unit has been started a new process or a new scheme of sustainability at surveillance audit. It's going to be very good, and you are going to get the utmost benefit whenever you are going for surveillance audit. So whenever you are going to have any doubts or any queries before your audits, always you have been welcome. You can able to contact our InVT wing, InVT audit and inspection wing, and they can able to support you to ensure that you have been enjoying your audit process. Once again, I thank you. I thank you one and all for attending this session. Thank you. Next week we can able to see with another interesting topic. Thank you one and all. Have a safe week ahead.